This episode is brought to you by Trailer Park Yard Games, where over 28 games are delivered directly to your party. We park the trailer, you party.
That's the same thing with my daughter. I've told Leanne I don't want her to call me Dad. I want her to call me Bill in the office, and when she refers to me, I want her to say that's a Bill question or go see Bill.
But what's funny is we call you Daddy. Yeah. When he walks into the office, we're like, Daddy's home.
Yeah.
Well,
Because you're like office dad.
And so we all have to be on our best behavior when Bill walks in.
Yeah.
Not hardly. You've never been on your best behavior.
All of you!
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
Really hard time
Yeah, that's how bad it could be. That's how bad it was before you walked in.
Exactly.
You mentioned that you have 3 other sisters.
Let's have a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.
Well, welcome to the PB and Jaisy podcast. I'm Bill Stedham, and to my right,
Sarah Patchett. You came in loud this morning.
I did.
Hey!
Bill is
Jaisy
back, and he's not dead.
Yes.
I know.
For everyone
he's
that
been
was
gone for a while.
People were really worried.
But he's
Worried
here.
about
He's here.
what? I was on vacation.
You were gone for like 4 weeks.
I took a short vacation
Yeah.
to see the porcelain god.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you
gosh.
back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sorry, this is...
I'm Jaisy George.
Well, welcome to today's show. Ann and I get a chance to work together a lot, and our daughter also works with us also, so it's a lot of fun. And over the last couple of decades, we've had a lot of very, very good times and some opportunities to learn how to improve relationships. When Ann doesn't listen to what I tell her to do, or Leanne thinks that she knows more than her dad does. She might, yeah, every single day. But our first guest today has had this experience a lot. She's known as the boss lady at the Vault, and she helps to lead one of the best restaurants in our area. In fact, not one of the best restaurants, in my opinion, the best restaurant in DFW. We're joined today by Lindsay. Lindsay, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. So I grew up in Mansfield, and my dad and my mother raised 4 daughters. I am the eldest of them, and we worked hard and currently own 2 restaurants here in Mansfield, El Primo's Mansfield and the Vault Mansfield, and yeah, we're thriving. It's been a really fun time.
That's awesome. And I don't know if you remember this, but so Lindsay, I don't even know how old you are, but your dad was out of town. I think your mom and dad both went on vacation, and they called in me as the babysitter.
They called you in to babysit?
But it wasn't, they must have been desperate, but it wasn't even just babysitting. Like, I had them for a week, and I had to get them up for school and make their lunches, and I still have not had children since then. So
Parent training. You scared them off.
You scared the mom out of me. No, y'all, it was so weird for me because I was raised with boys, and then to go to a house full of girls, and I don't remember your youngest sister at the time. She was little. Mm-hmm. She was in school, but she was, maybe 5. It was like kindergarten. She was little bitty. And right at the end of the trip, she had gotten sick. And so your parents came home to a sick child, but I was like, peace. Here's your kid.
Y'all deal with this.
They're still alive. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Good. Yes. But it was a very it was a good experience for me. But I was like, really, like, you're gonna trust me with your kids for a week?
Oh my goodness.
But it was fun.
You're like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
No, I totally remember. We had a nickname for you, Sarah Bear.
Oh, that's
Was that in a
tamest nickname
kind way?
Oh, always.
Always?
Or was she a bear? Like she was angry
No,
like
never.
a bear?
No,
You didn't
never.
want to poke her.
We loved her.
That's probably the only nickname that I can repeat that I've had. So that's good.
Yeah. I've heard a few around here, but I can't use them on the
don't.
podcast.
Well, that's okay.
Keep it-
Jaisy will
keep it
use them because
PG,
she has no filter on
So
the podcast.
number 1, bleep.
So tell us a little bit about working with family, because I work with my husband, which is a little different. Working with my daddy would be different, I think. Is that always been easy? Has it always been fun? Is there...
Okay, so I'll give you a backstory. So growing up, I always had the intentions of either growing up, I always wanted to be a cosmetic surgeon. So we totally nailed that dream.
It's okay. I had medical dreams as well.
Right, yeah.
Didn't
So
happen.
I went to college and took a biology course and was like, cool, I'm not really good at this. I thought I was. So switched career paths and talked to my dad for a while about it. Of course, he's all in business and very much entrepreneur. So that's kind of scary when it comes to trying to lead your children to a path that's most successful. So it was, okay, well, if doctor route doesn't go so well, why don't you just go the lawyer route? So did that and all the way until, graduated from UT, and then got accepted into law school, went to law school during orientation, and God was like, I'm going to need you to go ahead and stand up and leave. This is not where you're meant to be. So I had to make that phone call to my dad. And it went kind of, why don't you just come on home and we'll figure things out. So then I decided to, keep going and got my master's degree and a couple certifications, and went on to teach for 11 years. So my career path started very much separate from my family. So no one in my family has ever been a teacher, an educator, or, an administrative position in education. So starting off, it was very much I do my thing, they do their thing. We don't really intermingle.
Right.
And recently, actually, it was as soon as COVID sort of hit, that October of 2020, my dad and I had a sit down, and we discussed what we were going to do with an opening in the plaza that we own that's inside the El Primo's Plaza. And he said he really wanted to open up a more of a fine dining piano bar atmosphere. So I, of course, immediately vibed with that. I thought that was such a great idea, and so kind of helped spearhead that. For a while, I'd been doing the marketing for El Primo's, so doing all the social media while juggling being a teacher. And
because your dad, you can throw him under the bus. Was he not doing social media at all, or just not like you would do it? It was
actually one of his partners, Bobby, was running it, and not to throw Bobby under the bus, but,
Bobby, you were doing a bad job.
Let me just go ahead and take that over. I'll figure it out for us.
It just sounds like Bobby may be a little older than you.
I mean, just a little,
Okay.
or maybe not.
What's the matter with old people?
Well,
Okay, let's just keep
Bill, how many Facebooks do you have currently?
Well, I have two. One I control and one I don't.
He got hacked.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're doing the social media and
Yes.
and teaching. You said you were kind of
Yeah,
doing
so
both.
I was doing both, and Todd approached me and said, I want you to come and do this full time. I want you to help spearhead the vault. There's a lot of things that we want to do that's going to take more than a part-time position. So I, prayed about it and talked to my husband, Ben, about doing something like this. And the excitement of opening up a restaurant and being able to really, truly say that all of the ideas that were, that we had pushed back and forth really came from my family and I, and, my dad and I being able to kind of build it out of nothing. So
That's really special.
it was a very crazy, okay, let's just do it.
So I have a question. What inspires an individual? Now, we didn't know it was going to be a 2+ year pandemic, but what inspires an individual at the beginning of a pandemic to say, let's open a fine dining establishment when restaurants are dying left and right?
That's a really good question. So whenever the pandemic hit, we all had to close down at the very beginning. We knew we had to keep some sort of flow going with the restaurant. I mean, we have, 100 employees that we've got to make sure we don't want them to go, without a job. So we
I
put
know
our
for a
heads
fact
together.
that y'all made a killing on to-go margaritas
Yeah.
because I'd hear people talk about them all the time.
Yeah. So we decided.
margarita.
So we decided, you know what, let's do the curbside, let's do to-go, let's, Governor Abbott, bless his heart, helped us out a lot and let us do to-go margaritas. And so we were able to stay afoot, and we're very, very grateful for that. And so we took, the advantage of it being a little bit slower and decided, let's create a rooftop on top of El Primo's, and why not, jump in and make this what we want it to be. My dad is a very, very driven individual, and when he has an idea, you run with it. You don't get in the way. You
just get on board,
he
right?
has a lot of people that are like, yeah, no, great idea. And it's been a very interesting partnering. So going back to what you were asking about, what's it like working with your family? I think I am one of the only people in our company that looks at my dad and says, I just don't know. I don't know about that one. I'm going to have to come back at you with
So
my
you
idea.
stand
and
up
my-
to
Yes.
him a little bit more.
And
So do some
everybody-
of the other people come up to you and be like, hey, tell your dad this.
Oh, I cannot tell you how many
Don't
times
tell him I
happened.
said this, but can you
during
tell
the
him?
meeting, can you please tell your dad? No. My dad actually is doing a really good job. We just recently hired on an additional person administrative wise so that my dad can kind of step back and be able to start reaping the benefits of having
His
more
hard work.
grandkids and things like that. So he does a good job about, staying out of the meetings, but he'll poke his head in and we're like, oh gosh, here we go.
So I want to ask you about that. That's a
Yeah.
problem that I have a lot. Ann and Leanne will be doing something, and I want to get in there and give my opinion, but I've got to remember to stay out of it. Just like as I'm going through the office and I'm seeing things happen here with all the folks we have here, got to remember they don't want my opinion. So how does he handle that? How do you handle that when you have to get him back in line?
Todd always wants, he's going to give his opinion because his opinion's most likely going to be the decision.
Right.
But I'm almost going to reverse that. It's hesitant to give out your opinion. He's always going to be willing to listen to your feedback and hear what you have to say. But I'm very fresh in this business realm. You ask me any question about education, I'm going to feel very confident in my answer. And I have degrees that back me up. They make really, really nice wall art now, very expensive wall art.
Right.
But yeah, when it comes to the business aspect, he brings people in, and he's told me this. Always surround yourself with people that are smarter than you are, because they're going to make the best decisions that they know in their professional realm. So it's been interesting. It's a back and forth, and my dad's very much I'm going to take what you said and I'm going to listen to it and I'm going to absorb it and then I'm going to
Come back later.
Yeah. So I've learned so much.
That's very smart.
I'm very much a fireball. I don't know where I get it from, but
the
The hair.
But I will say this, like you had said that there's a lot of people that are surrounded by yes people, and it's nice to be agreed with to a point, but it doesn't help you grow. And so I am always like surrounding myself with people that'll be like, that call me on my BS, because it's easy to find someone that just says, oh yeah, that's great, good, that's great. And then I want the person to say, well, what about this? Have you thought about this? And I think that we all need that a little bit more. So I'm sure he's blessed to have you saying, wait a minute, Daddy.
Yeah, for sure. And he also has friends outside of, the restaurant business or outside of the packaging business that he has that will give him straight shot answers.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
I think that keeps him leveled, but I mean, he's very smart. He keeps friends close. He keeps business people close and makes sure that he's surrounded by everyone that he needs to be successful. So awesome. I'm really proud of him, but it's been interesting. It's definitely a cool dynamic because I get to text him in the middle of the night. I called him he's in Palm Springs right now playing golf, and I called him early this morning, was like, sorry to wake you. But I'm going to be in a podcast this morning and I just have a few questions. He's like, yeah, that's fine.
That's sweet.
So, and he comes in and says, I'm very proud of you, baby girl. You're doing a good job. And then it'll switch over to, what were we thinking? So
Right.
it's fun dynamic. There's definitely, the boundaries. Daughter, father version.
Lindsay Todd.
Lindsay Todd.
Yeah.
I actually have people that ask me a lot, why do you call your dad Todd? Well, because if I say, well, my dad told me that we have to do it this way, nobody is going to respect me. And so I'm very much...
You reminded me of like Paris Hilton, right? When you said that, I was thinking, your daddy gave her everything. Yeah.
So do you between hours when you're working with your dad, do you call him Todd? And then at home is it like, Dad, I just...
No, yeah, I call him Todd the majority of the time. Yes, unless I'm speaking with family. But yeah, I've so many people are like, what? Not to offend you or anything, but why do you call your dad Todd? I'm no mean to offense. I mean, you're not offending me, but I don't believe that I'm necessarily offending him either. When we're in a professional setting, I would rather say Todd XYZ versus Dad, because you're gonna bring me down, and I worked my butt off to get up here. Right. So don't chip me off of my mountains.
That's the same thing with my daughter. I've told Leanne I don't want her to call me Dad. I want her to call me Bill in the office, and when she refers to me, I want her to say that's a Bill question or go see Bill.
But what's funny is we call you Daddy.
Yeah.
When he walks into the office, we're like, Daddy's home.
Yeah.
Well,
Because you're like office dad.
And so we all have to be on our best behavior when Bill walks in.
Yeah.
Not hardly. You've never been on your best behavior.
So that
I have
is
a really
my
hard
best
time
behavior.
believing
Yeah,
that.
that's how bad it could be. That's how bad it was before you walked in.
Exactly.
You mentioned that you have 3 other sisters. Do they have any interest in being in the business, or
That's a good
are
question
they kind of
too.
figuring it out?
So, ironically, all of us were like, yeah, nothing to do with family business. Whenever we were all in school, we decided to go. We've got 2 sisters that are nurses. One is a nurse practitioner in Austin. My youngest, Bailey, is a nurse here in Mansfield with the district. And then the middle child, my dad calls her rock star. You know how middle.
Oh, yeah.
Always got to prove themselves.
She's crazy. I love her. She went to LSU and never came home. So she is down in Baton Rouge. She owns her own hair salon. Ooh. So, she dabbled. She got her major in business and entrepreneurship. So she's within the realm, but still very much out of anything that has to do with family business. Yeah. My husband is in our family business. He runs all the finances. So it's interesting when we come home because I work with my husband indirectly, and then husband works with dad and the family. So
does he write your paychecks?
Somebody else does.
Okay, good.
But it's a lot of fun for the husband to be like, here's your paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let me just cash this real quick. So they've not technically shown interest, but my dad, having all girls, kind of waited until the significant others came in. So now all of his son-in-laws are involved. He obviously pulled mine in, and then, he's always working some sort of thing. Y'all come up to Mansfield, and
so did he ask you to marry a finance guy?
yeah. Okay,
Like,
so
Lindsay, I really need you to find a man.
wait, you're gonna love this
We
story.
need to make a family alliance.
You're gonna love this story. Ben graduated with his master's in social work.
Oh, wow.
And so he actually worked in the psych wing of, one of the DFW hospitals.
Wow.
And worked with teenagers, dealing with issues, and wonderful at it. I mean, the man's brilliant. And once again, my dad approached the 2 of us and said, I need one of y'all to switch to accounting.
This is what I'm going to need.
Hey, I'm not going to name any names, but one of y'all.
Oh, he looked right at Ben.
Who wants to do
like,
it?
oh, you don't want me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine.
Are you sure you're that serious about this whole social work thing?
Yeah, no. And like I said, Ben's brilliant. He went online, looked up all of the courses in one of the universities, all the accounting courses, and purchased all of the textbooks that each one of the courses required. And I mean, I'm telling you, it's the kid. The guy's brilliant. He's a year younger than me. He just, shuffled through all the accounting books, and he was like, okay, let's do it. I'm like, wow.
Wow. I'm so bad at numbers.
Could
That's
never
pretty
be
cool.
me, ever.
No.
Ever. In fact, it was, when I say it was a leap of faith going from education to restaurant businesses and marketing and event coordinating all sound thrilling, but I tend to stick to things I'm really good at. So I felt super confident in being an educator and moving into the administrative realm. And, I could do it with my eyes closed, just, doing something you feel good, right? And jumping in was one of the scariest moments.
That's really vulnerable just to
Absolutely.
say, I'll do it, but I don't know.
Not one marketing class, not one business class. So 0 preparation. It was all, I'm just going to learn it as I go. I'm going to surround myself by people that know what they're doing.
Hold
Jump
up a
in.
second.
Yeah.
You don't have any marketing classes whatsoever?
No.
Because your presence on social media, since you've taken that over
It's awesome.
for El Primo's in the Vault, is amazing.
Thank you.
So we can finally, I don't think I'm speaking just for myself, find out what's going on by going on social media and see what's happening, as opposed to going, could we come up to the 21st century maybe?
Yeah. So that was one thing that whenever we jumped in head first, I was like, we're going to need to do some updating, guys.
Yeah.
One of my
have to get rid of the fax machine.
Yeah, guys, this is, no more voicemails. That's not really a thing you do. You don't call a restaurant and leave a voicemail. Anyway, I have one of my very best friends, my best friend, Ide. She's done a lot in the marketing realm, especially for business and particularly for restaurants. So she's taught me a lot about, scheduling your posts and things of that nature. Once again, like had to YouTube, you know,
Figure
let
it
me
out.
grab 1 or 2 books and halfway read it. I've got 2 small boys at home, so it was very much a learning curve. But whenever
You're
it came,
very cute, by the way.
thank you.
You're
Whenever
so
it came to accounting for Ben, he was like, "All right, next, let's just do it."
Don't you hate people like that? Yeah.
So is Sarah
That's how my
Bear
husband
still
is.
babysitting for your
Bear.
boys?
You know, no, but if you're
I didn't
interested,
get the call, but yeah, maybe.
100%.
But I'm gonna have to put them to work. They're gonna have to help with signs.
They're they're
Right?
brilliant. Okay,
Yeah.
so do we want to
Let's
stem
talk
into that?
about this. Her
Okay.
mom was actually a real estate agent. That's how I met them. I was at Remax at the time, and her mom was an agent, and so sweet and kind and bubbly. And I was working the front desk, and that's when she asked me to babysit. So she did know me. She didn't just like pick me out of a phone book. Yeah, that's what they did back then.
Random
Yeah.
stranger, do you want to come over?
But yeah, so I don't. How old were you at the time?
I was still in I was
what,
like
third or fourth grade,
I
maybe?
was elementary moving into Mansfield into intermediate school, and I am the oldest, right? So when my dad started off, restaurant is like an afterthought. So he started in the business world, and he was a traveling salesman, so he was gone a lot, and so my mom had to kind of step up and be the single parent, the single married mom a lot of the times.
Right.
And 3 of us, that's a lot. I mean, we're all 5 and 10 years apart. So jumping from school to school, none of us were really at the same school at any given time. So it was interesting. I mean, I remember jumping in the car and her being like, I need you to jump out real quick and grab that open house sign. And then I'm going to go over here. So, you know, because they got the kid in the car seat in the back. And so I definitely remember putting the signs out. I remember her saying, I've got a showing. And it would be like, oh okay. Yep. No, I can watch that. So we'll see you in a little bit. You know,
Go sell a house, mama.
the real estate realm is crazy in terms of, you know, I would like to see the house tonight at 5. And you're like, yep. Okay. Let me
put my pot
I'm on
roast
my
on
way. Poor thing had to get dressed like in a blink of an eye, and yeah, exactly. Here's the macaroni. I'll be back.
So I have a question. So Anne's been doing this 29 years. Our daughter will be 31 this month, actually, in March. Well, in 2 days it'll be this month. But she got left a lot of different places. Did your mom or Todd ever forget you and leave you?
Interesting.
Because Anne left Leanne all the time.
She left her to conduct an open house.
No. She would just
Leanne
flat
sold the
butt
house at the
forget
age of
about
4.
her.
At the age of 4, Leanne sold her first home.
I was
Yeah.
left in kindergarten. I think it happens.
She's like, here's the pantry.
Yes.
I found that one first. If we were ever left anywhere, I would have never known. That's how savvy they were.
Okay, well,
Would've never known.
Leanne knew. I would get a call, that says, Dad, I think Mom forgot me. She was supposed to pick me up 4 hours ago. I'm still at school.
It's starting
no
to get
one
dark.
else is here. It's getting
starting
dark.
to get dark.
There's a strange guy over here.
Well, we have a little segment that we need to get to, and this is one of my favorite parts, but it's called...
Tales from the Lockbox.
Okay, so I'm going to throw it to you first, Lindsay. So do you have any funny stories that you're allowed to tell? We'll try to protect the guilty if we can.
Yes. So, being a restaurant owner, you're going to get a lot of crazy stories. Being that the vault is 21 and up and primarily locker holders, which let me just preface, we are very much an open to the public restaurant. A lot of people are misconstruing the fact that we have locker holders. That doesn't mean we're a member only. But that being said, I've got a lot of locals that, frequent the vault. So
The regulars.
I can't really kiss and tell, but I'll just say Marilyn Monroe, for those that know that story. I could say one of the craziest things that I've heard, it was through the grapevine, because I wasn't there, I was playing mom role at home, was at Primo's. We had a vault sign, like if you're at Primo's, we happen to place them in the restrooms just to advertise, hey, don't forget we've got the vault. And one of our recently renovated in the back, it's single restrooms, and I was told that a gentleman went into the male restroom and proceeded to strip down to nothing and grab our vault sign and place it to cover himself, and then took selfies. So
were these online somewhere?
I wish, and
I should use them.
they
on
were
my-
There's your
the vault.
marketing.
I was
OnlyFans.
I said,
For vault.
as crazy as that sounds, I mean, thank you for the free advertisement.
Right.
But yeah, that was kind of what moment?
Very weird.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
It had absolutely nothing to do with being in a restaurant, but I was like, okay,
No,
well,
that's awesome.
okay.
I want to meet this
We're doing
man
that, yeah.
after he gets dressed. Well,
I'm sure he's in Mansfield. Shout out, sir.
Yeah.
Please DM us. Shout
Shout out to the guy that covered his wiener with their sign. So I waited tables for about 4 years or so at Stevens in Mansfield, which is another local restaurant. And I remember one time this guy had complained about his food, and he was just being a jerk. Like, whatever. He wanted the manager. I'm like, okay, let me go get the manager. And so Jan had come out and talked to the guy. Anyway, ended up comping his meal. The second she walks away, this guy, and I'm saying guy to be polite because that's not what I want to call him, but he gets on his phone. He's like, yeah, they just comped her meal. Come up here. What do you want? He was calling his daughter to come eat for free.
No way.
Yes.
That's disgusting.
People do
People are
and
jerks.
say anything at all. They'll eat the entire steak, and when they're done eating, that actually was underdone. Oh, but you ate it all.
You've got to be kidding me.
Could you at least tell me like first bite so I could make it better for you? Or one of my favorites too is something goes wrong, but you failed to let the manager know so that we could right the wrong like in the moment. And instead you just jumped on Yelp or social media or whatever and just bash us. And it's so hard to be like, could you just did you ask anybody for assistance?
So I have
Especially
a
being a
question. There's a
family-owned
lot
business.
of keyboard warriors out there, and we deal with the same thing. You know, they have a situation that happens, they don't tell us. They don't pick up the phone and call me and say, we've got an issue. We don't hear about it. And this doesn't happen often, but we've got 22 offices and over 1,000 people, so it happens on occasion. How do you handle the keyboard warriors that get on there and bash you?
So you have to give yourself 5 minutes to cool down when you read them initially. And we have an absolutely amazing team at Primo's and Vault. So it's never just one person responding. I typically screenshot or somebody else will screenshot and email out and say, how do we want to handle this situation? It's always best to find if they can remember or, if it was even brought up at all. It's best to say, give me your side of the story. Tell me what happened versus what they believe happened. 9 times out of 10, we're not going to pick that argument. We're not going to fight that battle. I always ask them to reach out to me personally, and we always want to be able to right our wrongs and have them come back. And I want the experience at both locations to be perfect for everybody every single time, and sometimes it's just not going to work out. So
there's a difference of wanting, like if somebody wanted to fix that, they would have told you.
Right.
There's people that want to complain.
Or some people that want the attention to be like, just to start a fight online and have people comment and get that attention. And
For sure.
it's just
These are the same people that we go out, not that it's happened at the Vault, because it hasn't. But these are the same people that Ann and I will go out to dinner and we'll have a nice steak somewhere in downtown Dallas. And they'll tip like $1. And I'm like, you jackass.
Yeah.
And pull out
disgusting.
a reasonable tip and leave it there.
Yeah, here's just a side note. Don't order DoorDash. Don't go to a restaurant. Don't do any of that if you can't afford a tip.
Yeah, absolutely. And tip well.
Yeah.
Well, like 25%.
Yes.
Always.
Do it right.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
So let's level up just a little bit on that.
So my quote is, when we have an abundance, we don't eat more, we just pull up extra chairs. Something that we didn't get to talk about during the segment was how much El Primo's has actually given back to the community. I remember during the pandemic seeing that y'all were giving food out to kids. I know that was a hard time for a lot of people because sometimes kids being at school is the only meal that they have. So I just love how much El Primo's has, as y'all have had abundance, y'all haven't just taken it all in, y'all have given back to the community. So it's crazy that we haven't even touched that this whole conversation, but I feel like that's true to how y'all are. Y'all do it and y'all are just kind of in the background with it. It's not something that y'all are trying to advertise. So.
My dad has a super giving heart. That's one thing that I've noticed working with him. I've always known it.
You mean Todd?
Sorry, Todd. I've always noticed it, but that's one thing I get very protective because he is dad. So a lot of people have their hand is out all the time, and he wants to give as much as humanly possible. All of them do. So that's been a very eye-opening experience for me, for sure.
But I think what most people don't realize, and we've got a couple minutes, so while you guys were doing that, while Todd's giving away free meals to all the kids, you guys weren't able to be open at all. And then when you could open, you had already made the decision to remodel, so you couldn't open. So here you are not able to bring in any revenue, and you're giving away hundreds, if not thousands of meals. And that'll be
That's
something
awesome.
that I will remember forever, and we will always throw our business that way.
Well, and if you guys are local, so Mansfield, even Dallas Fort Worth, it's not a bad trip, but they are at the corner of Matlock and Country Club, and they've got El Primo's, which is like a Tex-Mex. It's very, very good food.
Great salsa.
Yes,
Thank
very
you.
good salsa.
Family friendly, that one.
Yes, and then y'all do live music and stuff every now and then.
do, yeah.
One
Yeah.
of our very own will be there.
Yeah, at the
this
vault.
month.
At the vault
Yeah.
this month. In fact,
She's an agent
I
here.
need 2 tables of 4 or 5
I
each.
got you.
So I'll call and get that set
And
up.
then the vault is going to be more prime. I actually have not been there.
Sarah.
Yes, I know, and I love food, so I will be there.
Will you come with Ann and I and Chris
There you
and
go.
Josh?
Yes, I will be
Okay.
there. Okay,
Done.
so be sure to follow Lindsay. Watch El Primo's in there in the vault and all their social media that they do. Support local business. Give back when you can in true Todd fashion. And yeah, thank you all for joining us today.
Thanks
for
being
having me.
here.
This is fun.
Yeah.
This has been the PB and Jaisy Show. We out.
Just had a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.